Concept of working capital. There are two major concepts of working capital: net working capital, current assets minus current liabilities, and gross working capital, current assets. Working capital management. In finance, working capital is synonymous with current assets. Working capital management concerns the administration of the firm's current assets along with the financing, especially current liabilities, needed to support current assets. Significance of working capital management. Working capital management is important because it's a strategy for ensuring a company has enough money to cover its routine expenses, debts, unexpected costs, and basic materials. It also helps a business minimize the money it spends and maximize its return on investments. Profitability and risk. In determining the appropriate amount or level of current assets, management must consider the trade-off between profitability and risk. The greater the level of current assets, the greater the liquidity of the firm, all other things equal. With greater liquidity comes less risk, but also less profitability. In the management of working capital, we see the two most basic principles of finance in operation. 1. Profitability varies inversely with liquidity. 2. Profitability moves together with risk. Working capital issue. Optimal amount, or level, of current assets. Detour. Classification of working capital. Permanent working capital. Permanent working capital is the amount of current assets required to meet a firm's long-term minimum needs. Temporary working capital. Temporary working capital, on the other hand, is the amount of current assets that varies with seasonal needs. Hedging approach. The hedging principle is one which guides a firm's debt maturity financing decisions. The hedging principle states that the financing maturity should follow the cash flow characteristics of the assets being financed. Short-term versus long-term financing. The two key facets of working capital management, what level of current assets to maintain and how to finance current assets, are interdependent. Because of their interdependence, these two facets must be considered jointly.